Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Terse Turk Lufenia. This is Rude LC's fight against the Masked Monks, and I've brought here a team of Ashe, Trey, and Agrias, who's the real star of the show. She's who I built the team around, and I was very keen to see what she could do. Really happy with the results here. But let's talk about the bosses first. So they have a unique gameplay mechanic wherein their masks rank up whenever they take an action. So they start at white, they go up to gold, which gives them an HP regen, but not too much to worry about. And goes up to red after that, which is really where you don't want it to be. Red will give them bravery and HP regen, as well as making their attacks a lot nastier. But crucially, it gives the Bane debuff to all your party, which is... Whew, it's something you really don't want. It's the bane of this whole fight. Sort of makes sense given that this is Yuna's cycle still, so she's very valuable here. But it's a 5-turn framed debuff that prevents you from gaining bravery, which is so annoying. Really annoying. I see what bosses have to go through when they're going against a Setzer. And it also makes you take more bravery and HP damage. So the intention is obviously that you bring Yuffie, she's the star unit for this fight, and then you put Bane back on them, so they take more damage and they can't gain bravery. It's really, really, really good. Because their attacks can be pretty nasty, if I'm honest. If you don't have Yuffie, you're going to want someone doing some sort of mitigation. But you can make their masks rank down by breaking them. So this is where Trey comes in. His combo of his fantastic EX debuff, Fatal Arrow, that makes enemies always get broken, no matter what hits them while the debuff's up. And also his traps mean that as soon as they take an action and gain bravery, they're going to get broken again immediately. So if they were to get some weird, nasty turn order, Trey could handle that pretty nicely by making sure they're getting broken and not letting them snowball to their red masks. Now, the reason the red masks are so particularly bad for this team is that I have absolutely no debuff mitigation in my party. You may have just seen, the only thing I've got is Mog Call, which is good for 2. Which is good, because on their thresholds, at 79% and 49%, they also inflict Bane. Only 2 thresholds, which means Mog Call is just good enough. There it is. But you do have to do it for all of them. You have to get all of them below their threshold before you can safely cleanse, or they'll just reapply it. So you can see Trey is doing nothing there because he's got Bane on. But I've still got some bravery saved up, so I can do a little bit of HP damage to get C down to below 80. And now, on Trey's turn, I can safely press Mog Call and cleanse off that annoying debuff. The other particularly tricky thing in this fight is the orb. And it's not a difficult orb to fulfill, it's just sap, which Trey is doing for us, fortunately. But the problem is that they have a nasty habit of delaying themselves, so you have to manage their thresholds and make sure they don't delay themselves out of being able to tick the orb down. Now, the reason Ashe is on this team is really to let Agrias do more of her shutdown work. Her kit is focused on 2 things, really. Brave gains and shutting down the enemy. Now, I initially had Serah over Ashe because I wanted to focus on the Brave gain side, enable Trey's battery and make him do more damage. And he certainly did do more damage with Serah. But this Hallowed Bolt right here is really what makes the run work. Now, Hallowed Bolt puts silence on the enemies. It's not HP silence, although it functions similarly. It silences any magic attacks, and pretty much all their scary attacks are magic-based, which is fantastic. The other thing is, later on in the fight, whatever attack they do, it will put them in red mask state, and I don't have the tools to deal with that. So from this point in the fight onwards, I need to pretty much make sure they're not getting hits in. Their all attack is very dangerous, Vein Split Plus. I think 2 of them will probably kill the party. And their single target attack, which is called Vital Leech or something dumb like that, it really hurts. I've seen it kill. I'm not totally sure what the mechanic behind it is. I'm sure there's a way to play around it, but it's painful. Not as painful as that fully batteried and Queen's ordered up Dynamite Arrow was, though that was beautiful to see. Ashe happens to work very well with off-turn damage dealers because her buff is very powerful, 30% HP attack up, we like that, but it doesn't last very long. So Trey is the kind of character who can really squeeze all the juice out of that. I really, really have rated him recently. I think as an off-turn damage dealer, he's pretty unparalleled. Right, down below the 50% threshold, and they've gone into red mask mode automatically, which is fine, because if they're stunned, they won't be able to up their masks at any point, which means I can just keep them stunned and get them down to grey again and not worry about any attacks. Not that it really matters, because they're not going to be doing damage anyway. Not going to let them get a turn in. Just checking to see whether I've got anything stopping it from acting, and I don't think I actually do on B at the moment. So let's see how I play this. I don't quite remember. I'm looking to reapply the Fireball relatively soon. Not that I'm going to run out of turns on it, it's just a damaging skill. But yeah, there's the Mog Call to just polish off that last Bane debuff. Don't want to be seeing another one of those. Still deliberating. Should I press that summon? I do press the summon. That's the smart move, really. I don't have turn denial on them, and that means that they're just going to kill Agrias. The only thing that's scary using Ashe here, and also with sort of summon turns, is I don't want to lock one of them out of getting another turn before the orb pops. That's a very real possibility, and a very scary one. Especially as I'm probably about to do huge amounts of damage with Agrias here. Alright, so there's her great LD stun. It's actually really useful to use in summon as well, because I don't have to worry about stunning them afterwards, but it also increases bravery and HP damage taken. So with the huge caps I'm getting from both Agrias and Ashe blue armors, we can do some pretty nice damage in here. Divine Ruination is a beautiful skill as well. It batteries, so a launch off it is great. Let's see the numbers. Whew, that looks like some JP stuff. Maybe a weak skill in JP. I think Trey is the only character here who's got his C90. Now, there are better ways to lock down these guys. HP Silence. Kefka is phenomenal here. I did a Kefka run, and you just don't have to worry about anything at all, so long as you can get rid of the threshold debuffs. You know, Trine and Hyperdrive are very, very strong. Delay you might struggle with, unless you have crazy burst damage going. You see, Agrias also quite likes multiple targets, because it gives him more chance of getting random Judgment Blade paralyses. But it... the paralysis... not the paralysis, the move, Judgment Blades, is full AoE, which is... can do a lot of damage across multiple targets. You know, it's not Strago, but it's still something. Right, we're getting very much towards the back end of the fight now, fortunately. It may not seem like much, but those Seifer calls I used earlier for his foul debuff, they're actually putting a lot of work here, because my attack auras and defense... I've got no defense down on the team. The attack auras aren't great. When I did this without Seifer, I was hitting ones by this point, genuinely. It makes that much of a difference. But yeah, with Ashe, her very powerful HP plus, I don't want to put too many turns in between me and the boss. I want to get that orb to tick up a bit again, so I will be pressing the HP plus probably at some point. But I just want to make sure they get another turn and I don't screw myself at this point with the orb, because that would be horrible. If you've got a reasonable team for this, though, it is quite a simple fight. So long as you have an answer to the big damage, the orb and the orb's very easy to manage, just purely mechanically. You just need to play around it. But so long as you can manage the damage, the orb, and of course that nasty Bane debuff, you really will be in the clear. They have very low health, so Strago will absolutely melt through these guys. I could have been far more liberal with my Kurasame call, I realise. I'm reapplying it with 13% left as the most on one of them. And I've still got plenty of uses of Faded Moly, and I don't think I used the AA into guaranteed paralysis on Judgment Blade either. So Agrias still had so much turn denial left in her tank if she needed it. Yeah, I've got 2 AAs left there, and I've still got a Divine Ruination. So that's still 3 guaranteed paralyses on demand if I needed them. But we're not going to. Fight's about to end. Thank you very much for coming and watching. It was a lot of fun to do this, and you will be seeing more Agrias in the future, I promise. The next fight will be... I probably won't do a video for Transcendence, so the next one I do will probably be X-Death's Raid. So have a great night until then, and I will catch you around.